As things stand, Nicolas Maduro's deputy, Delcy Rodriguez, has been sworn in as Venezuela's interim president, while Donald Trump says the U.S. is in charge. So who'll be pulling the power levers in the weeks and months to come? Rebecca Jarman is Professor of Humanities at the University of Leeds, specializing in Venezuela, and joins me now. Good to have you with us this evening, our time here. Now, so Delcy Rodriguez is now the interim leader. Donald Trump says that the U.S. is in charge and will run the South American countries. Who do you expect to be pulling these power levers in the weeks and months to come?
Well, Donald Trump has also been slightly contradicted by Marco Rubio, who says this is a coercion and not a kind of a power imposition, let's say. I suspect it's somewhere between the two. Delcy Rodriguez is going to have little choice but to do as Trump asks or demands because of the threat of further violence if she does not cooperate. And also because she, like many of the Venezuelan political elites, are under sanction. She has little kind of personal prospects outside of Venezuela, and therefore she will be compelled to cooperate with the US, as she suggested she would be prepared to do in her most recent statement.
Yes, so Trump in the meantime is already threatening Rodriguez, that she'll pay a big price if she doesn't do the right thing. What does not doing the right thing mean? Because the US president hasn't ruled out boots on the ground.
No, although I don't think that would be plan A for Trump. I think plan A for Trump would be to basically get Delcy Rodriguez to do his bidding, which would mean that he would then have to or not have to invest in sending boots to the ground, which would be economically expensive and also politically unpopular with his political base. Doing the right thing ultimately will mean listening to Trump and doing as Trump asks. And what that means is likely giving unfettered access to the oil economy, to exploration rights, to production rights, and so on. It also may mean handing over certain belligerent actors that the US would like to capture or detain, and potentially looking at some of or taking a kind of harder domestic line on some of the narco trafficking activities as well.
Yes, now a Maduro-aligned administration right now is in power. How do you see the political opposition there? Figures like Edmundo Gonzalez and the Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado. How do you expect them to be now being brought to the fore?
Well, for many, it was a surprise in Trump's press conference on Saturday, that these figures were largely maligned. Or certainly their kind of importance downplayed, and it may be that they were expecting that because the figures, Maria Corina Machado, for example, has been quite quiet. She released a statement on Saturday afternoon UK time, which was quite vague. It just demanded or called for liberation for Venezuela and called for the opposition to be ready. Now, what does that readiness look like? We don't know yet. It depends on whether elections are called. It depends on whether Trump sees it as beneficial for calling elections. It may well be that if Delcy Rodriguez does do as he asks and gives the opportunities that are beneficial to Trump, it won't be necessary to call elections from a US perspective. And if that is deemed to be the case, I don't suppose we'll be seeing much from the opposition anytime soon.
And just briefly, would he then enjoy majority support in Venezuela?
Yes, I believe that he would have popular support from Venezuelans. I believe that if electoral mechanisms were rebuilt and were functioning correctly, we may well see a democratically elected government in the near future. But personally, I think that is a very difficult task. It's going to require a lot of energy, a lot of cooperation, a lot of investment, and whether the US is going to be prepared to invest in democracy in Venezuela has yet to be seen.
Okay, Professor Rebecca Jarman, really appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much.